Hello, hello, hello. What's up, everybody? Hello, hello, hello. Oh shit, there's an echo. From where? Everybody? There we go. Fixed it. Hold up. There we are. What's up, people? What's up, Jan? What's up, Admissions? How you all doing? Hold up. What's up, Katrin? Let me fix my mic. There we go. Is the sound coming through all right? Okay. Let's get started then. Welcome, everybody. So, for the people that are new, this is the Texturing Bootcamp, and I'm gonna be your instructor. My name is Onua, and I'm a student here at CADA. I'm in the first semester currently, and I'll be taking you through today's bootcamp, and I'll hold your hand. You don't have to worry, it's okay if you're a complete beginner. All questions are more than welcome, and if stuff is going too slow or too fast, let me know. Use the chat, that's why we're doing it live, so we can all interact together, right? And if you have a question, there's probably a bunch of other people that have the same question. With that being said, how are you all doing? You guys excited for today? Anyone completely new to Blender? Hold on, let me get this stuff fixed up. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Doing great, alright, nice. So people bringing their own models, or did you guys borrow the one that I made last time? And are you set up as well? So this is what we did last time, and this is our reference. So you can find this reference in the Discord as well if you need it. Hold on. Yeah. 3D Bootcamp chat. You go up, and I posted it right here. So if you need it, it's right there. Okay. Oops. You're able to recover yours? That's great. Nice. Alright. It's always more fun to work on your own. So if you have your own, I would recommend it. If you don't, you can borrow mine. Okay. Okay. So if someone is completely new to Blender, let me know and I'll go through some super basic stuff. But for now, I'll assume that people have used Blender before, like one time. So you know that middle mouse, orbit, shift middle mouse, pan around, and then scroll wheel to zoom in and out. Okay. Okay, so first of all, let's just take it from the very, very bottom, right? So you're all here to texture, because it's a texturing bootcamp, right? And so you'll only watch today? Alright, Katrin. I saw your model though, it was very cool. I want to see it fully textured as well. So texturing in 3D, what is it all about, right? So we have this model inside 3D space, but everything is sort of just like the same, right? There's no different colors, like there's no metals, there's no plastics, there's no glass, right? There are all these properties of real life or stylized work or whatever, right? That we want to get in our render. And that's kind of what I'll be going through today. So how do we get all those colors, all those like materials and all that? So first things first, we have to add materials to our objects. So by default, they have like no material. Well, they get like a default material, which is like blank. But what does like a material mean in 3D space? It's kind of like anything in the real life. They all have a different type of feeling, a different type of material, right? So you can see how the light kind of hits all these things very differently, right? Oh shit, sorry, that must have been loud. So all these things, they have like different properties, different materials, like you have your glasses and plastics and all that. So before we can start painting on anything or adding color, we need to decide what type of material we're working with. Because adding color on like a glass cup is way different from adding color on like, yeah, like, I don't know, a metal surface, a chrome surface, or like a piece of wood or a carpet, you know, like all these materials, they have different properties. So if we open up our reference here, that's basically what we'll start out the day with today. We're just going to be adding the different types of materials that we see on our reference. Okay, so, and for this step we have to think a little bit, right? But we're doing art, so we don't want to think too much. No, that's not true, but you know what I mean. Let's just go ahead and not worry too much about stuff. But for example, if we left click on this bottom here, we see some kind of sand texture, some kind of sand material, right? So we'll start out by doing that. So that is funny. So the bottom for me is the only one that has a material already. So sometimes it will happen that your stuff has a material already if it came with like a placeholder or something like that. So in the right menu here, we haven't really used that, but at the very bottom there's a material tab. Okay, and so this menu is like context dependent, right? So if I select something else, this material tab will change. So if we select the bottom surface here, we see that there is already a material selected for it. Okay, and if I go into this material, we have a bunch of properties like I talked about just a second ago, right? We have the metallicness of it, we have the roughness, and then we have the transparency, and then the color, right? So if I take this slider, a little bit hard to see on a flat surface, maybe let's go here, this cup. You see, if I start messing with the properties, if I make it very, very not rough, and you have to think about it that way, it becomes a very shiny surface. And if I increase the roughness, kind of imagine you have a surface, right? And then if you rough it up, like if you have a very shiny surface, that surface becomes more and more matte, if that makes sense, right? So the rougher it is, the more matte it becomes. So if I increase this, it becomes very matte, and then if I decrease the roughness, like make it smooth, it becomes less matte. And the way these materials interact with your light becomes more and more realistic the closer you get to like a realistic render engine. So we're using something akin to what you would render with in games, but you can change it over here to cycles. But that's just a bit heavy, so we'll be doing a simple version today, okay? So if we go back to our ground surface, we can, if you don't have one, you can just click new to add a new material. Okay, and if you already have one and you want to make a new one, you can just click minus out here to delete it. And then we can go ahead and we can mess with the base color. And we can kind of imagine what sand is like as a surface, right? Like, is it super shiny? Or is it like more rough, not that shiny, kind of matte, right? And I'm sure if you pick up an individual grain of sand, it's very shiny because it's like a polished rock. But as a whole, right, the surface of sand is very rough. Like you don't get that glare on it, kind of, you get that more matte, rough finish. So we'll just be going with something like that. And it doesn't matter too much because we're doing something super stylized, but for some things it'll matter, like what kind of roughness value you put. Okay. So for now we can just go ahead and make our van here blue. So I'll give it a new material. And let's say if I wanted to name it, I could call this blue, just by double clicking right here. Call it blue. Oops, I'm sorry, I'm actually covering up my keybinds. And call it blue van. Okay. And we may want to make it a little bit blue. Color isn't changing on the model for me. Okay, so it could be a couple different things. If you go in your material tab, check if you have a material there, right? And I'm sure you do because you're changing the color of it. So it could be that you're in this mode and you're not actually in the mode with the like action. So this mode is used for modeling, right? You just want to see the shape of objects and stuff like that. This is the render view where you get all the color and the light and that kind of stuff. So it could be that you're not in the render view. I should have probably made that clear. So we do need the render view to see how our materials interact with the scene. And if your render view is being super slow, kind of like this, and my stream is gonna lag, it's because you need to go into the render tab and then change this to Eevee. And you get that quick render. So how is it for people? Have you all been able to add a material and like change the color of it? Got it? Thanks. You're welcome. You are more than welcome. And any other questions are very appreciated. Okay, so we can look around a little bit more. So I see all these signs and stuff. Actually, this up here, I don't exactly know what it is, but it does have a color. So I can call it Blue Van 2. Then we can give it a little bit more of a, almost the same, but it has a little bit of a hue change. That might have been a little bit too much. There we go. Looking nice. And we can go back. So click it, go to the material tab, and then we can adjust our colors a little bit. Okay. And we'll get back to stuff, right? But for now we can just sort of go around our scene and just pick. So we can call this one tire. And the tire is like very matte, very rubbery. So I'll put the roughness all the way down to 0. And then make it black. But also not too black, right? Because that's looking strange. So just like, you know, almost black. Kind of like that. It's easy to go too crazy on the colors, but there's no need. So right now we have this tire material. And if you're working on your own scene, this one is one I would recommend paying attention to. So if we have a material and we're going to use it multiple different places in our scene, we can just select a different object, add a material, or just select down here, tire. You see? So we have a list of all the materials in our scene, and we can just search for one if we wanted to. So I can search for tire and then add it. Boop. There we go, we have a tire. And I see now that I accidentally made the roughness very little, but I meant to make it very high, because, you know, a tire is very rough. Okay. Hope that's making sense so far. Okay, we can work a little bit on our palm here. So we can make a new material and call it palm. Then we gotta go for this kind of. Then I'll make it very rough too, because the surface of wood is not very shiny. And then we have all these palm fronts up here. So to select all of them, we can kind of make use of a little bit of a trick. We can use our outliner. So if you remember in the outliner, you can select stuff, but they're also kind of ordered. So I can select the first palm front up here, and then just like shift select down if I wanted to. So right before we get any of the coconuts. And this, I mean, you can just select it any way you want, right? But you gotta select all of them. And then instead of adding the material to all of them individually, what I'll do now is just click Control and then J. Okay, so now we combined all the palm front, all the palm leaves or whatever to one big object. And then this object we can give another material and call this palm leaves. Okay, so that's the process for now. And you don't have to follow what I'm doing one-to-one right now. You can if you want to. But just find the stuff in your scene and give them some materials and some color. Whatever you feel like is appropriate for the roughness settings. Or maybe you have a metallic object too that you want to sort of play with. You can do that. And if you sort of notice for the colors, I'm going a little bit more muted in my color scheme than the reference, which is important. You gotta like make sure that stuff fits together somewhat. You can go super saturated or a little bit more muted. Both will work. So here, I'm just shift selecting on my outliner. Control J to combine all of this stuff. So these are supposed to be coconuts, or the idea of coconuts. You can call this coconut, and then give this another material. Okay, there we go. How are people doing? Is it okay? Like, is it going too fast maybe? Or are you guys understanding sort of the general gist of it? We'll get deeper into how to do more with the textures and the materials and all that, but for now. Going good? Okay, I'm glad. What about the rest of y'all? Feel free to chat. Going great, nice, okay, I'm happy to hear it. So yeah, just keep finding stuff in your scene that you want to color. And I would recommend, like, when you have multiple things, if you have a lot of things, you can use Control J to combine them. But if you only have a couple things, you can like, so let's do purple cake. You can obviously just name the material appropriately, and then you can go to the other object and then search for purple cake. And then you can sort of do it that way. Okay. So if there are no questions, I kind of want to see, you know, I'll just keep moving, and if there's something that you guys get confused about along the way, just let me know. Give me a heads up in the chat and I'll go over it again. And I'll keep talking and I'll see how far I can get. Okay, so let's just keep adding stuff. So for now, so we added the purple cake, so for the rest I'll just combine these into like all the rows so we can give those different colors. Okay, so we can make a green cake, which this one was supposed to be pink, not purple. Pink cake. Okay, purple cake. Then we just go ahead, give them the colors like everything else in our scene. And then blue. And this might actually be a time where the shine could be useful, because it does look like they're kind of glazed or something like that, right? So let's try to give them a very low amount of roughness. Something like that. See if we can get a little bit of shine on them. Well, I'm glad to hear it, be honest. You're more than welcome to just listen in. You can also keep working on it. I'd love to see what you've been up to by the end of the stream. Nice, so we got a few cakes down here. We can go ahead and work on this little cup here. And by the way, like if we get done with the texturing very quick, or we're near the end, like I think we should keep modeling on this together, like see how far we can take it by the end of the stream, right? Because we spent a long time on this car, and I would love to do a lot of the other stuff in the scene as well. I hope you all don't mind me doing a little bit of modeling if we have time for it by the end. So we just keep adding, and you know, honestly, with the way we're working right now, we don't need to worry too much about naming everything properly and stuff like that. Because, you know, it's just a small little fun project. So we can make a material for all these pieces together and call this like beige wood. Is lighting? Okay. Yeah, lighting can be difficult. Is there something specifically about the lights that, yeah, like, you found difficult? I feel like I need to overlight to have a sunny day. Ah, okay, so if you want to have a sunny day, the best way to do it is actually to use something called an HDRI, probably. So you should look up what that is, so I'll spell it out. HDRI, and you can go to sites like HDRI Haven, for example, and they will have a bunch of sunny day HDRIs, which is basically like, imagine a studio light rig, like all the lights together, but it's like an outside day, and you put that into your scene, right? So it's like a photo captured in 360 degrees, and you use that to light your scenes, and you'll get much more realistic results. If realism is what you're going for. But even if it's not, you should still use an HDRI. So I'm sure there's a lot of very good tutorials on YouTube kind of explaining what that is, and I would definitely recommend looking into those. Because the reality is, when you try to use the lights inside Blender, by default they can feel very artificial, and that can give that need to overlight, and that will in turn make it very, yeah, sort of weird and artificial looking. Because in reality, like, when you get that light from the real world, it's not just a big directional light that blasts onto the surface of the earth, right? The light is diffused and scattered in the clouds and the atmosphere, and sort of hitting from everywhere at the same time a little bit. So we can make a new material called seed here. Can make this very rough, because it's like that leathery seed feeling. Okay, we're going somewhere. Can make a new material here, call it suitcase 1. So I think everybody is sort of enjoying putting materials on their stuff right now, so I'll keep doing it. But in not too long, I'll go over how to actually start painting and all that. And let me know if you're ready for all of that, or just want to keep working for a little bit. I'm kind of enjoying putting all the materials on right now. Done it once in a tutorial, but I just didn't think that this would be a good idea. You should definitely try it out. And let me know how it turns out. It could also be that you're using Eevee, and it might just be a case of Eevee not being very good at handling daylight. So you could switch over to cycles, but I'm not sure. Because like I said, Eevee is kind of that game engine sort of esque. It's getting better, a lot better. So tire inside. Especially with the new updates, it's super impressive nowadays. So I'll combine all these little pieces here, maybe even the main sign, combine them all together. And perhaps this back one too. So we'll go sign, give it the appropriate color. You gotta be a little bit careful of those like pure blacks and pure whites. It very often starts looking unnatural. For the pavement sand, is there a way to use height map or some displacement to give the illusion of sand dunes? Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it works pretty much the same way it would in Maya as well, Katrin. I haven't actually done height map, like displacement inside Blender, but I mean, it should definitely just be in the... So to do that stuff, right, you go into the shading tab, and right here you have your node tree. And inside here you have like all your stuff, you know, you can add your nodes. So search and then you have all your nodes here. So. Oops, accidentally clicked something. Yeah, so this is basically just a version of what you see in the UI out here, right? And then you can go in, and there's a bunch of, so this is more advanced for the people wondering. There's so many settings, right, for these materials, and you can even make your own materials by mixing stuff and adding things and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's keep it up. So parasol. I hope that's enough to go off of. I'm sure there's a video on YouTube explaining how to do a displacement material. It's just in the shading tab. It's like the hyper shade in Maya. Okay. So at this point, how about we try to paint something? So what would be like an obvious thing to paint? There's the sign, that's an option. There's the parasol, could paint some stuff on the leaves. I think let's go for the sign. So right now, just to show how to do this stuff, I'll move the sign out of the way a little bit. Okay. So there's something I have to explain first before we start painting in 3D, and it's kind of important to understand the process a little bit. So as it is right now, we can't paint on this thing per se, because Blender needs to save data somewhere. So when we make a paint stroke on the surface, it's not gonna know where to save it. Okay, because we haven't told it anything about how to save it or what to do. So what we need to do And this is the way textures are saved in basically any 3D software. Is it takes information that you paint onto it, and then it saves it onto like a normal image file that you would have on your PC, like a PNG or a JPEG or whatever. So for Blender to know how to do that, we have to tell it, okay, we have this image file on our PC. Whenever I paint a stroke right here, you should paint a stroke on that image file on my PC. And so this place is equal to that place on my image. And sort of a way to illustrate that, I like to pull this out. So when we have a flat 2D image on our PC, Blender knows that the face right here needs to go on the face of the snowman, or sorry, the Santa Claus, and not like down here, up here, or whatever. It knows that the face goes where the face goes on the 3D model. And we need to tell Blender how to do that by unwrapping it. So basically we take this 3D model and we tell it this is where the face is, this is where the foot is, and all that. But we need to do this on every single object that we want to paint onto. Okay? And it might sound like a complicated process, but it's actually very simple. In this case, because we'll just use something called auto unwrapping. So to start this process, it's called UV unwrapping in 3D. So we will go to the UV editing tab. Okay. So in object mode, we can select the object that we want to unwrap. We can click tab. Okay. And we can select the whole thing by clicking A. Is this thing not showing? There we go. So select the whole thing by clicking A. Alt A to unselect, A to select it all. And then we hit U on our keyboard. Okay. Or click up in the UV tab, U on our keyboard, and then we click Smart UV Project. Smart UV Project, sorry. Okay, and then we end up with this thing, okay? And you can almost see the shapes from our model. But basically, what we end up with is Blender has automatically tried to take our 3D model and cut it out and put it onto a flat surface. Okay, so if I go right here, you'll see that this piece right here is that piece. Okay, and this piece right here is that piece. Yeah, sure, and there might be a plugin as well that can work for sand, or even the snow add-on might be able to work. Okay, so Blender has automatically told where stuff is supposed to be. Okay, so we can work with that. So now it has places to store that painting information, and now we go on to the painting. So we go to the texture paint tab. Okay, and so to start painting, we can't go right away because, hold up, we don't have an image texture that we can paint on. We don't have that image file, so we need to go into texture slots and then make a new texture. And you can paint on a bunch of different things. You can paint where it's supposed to be rough and where it's not, or metallic and where it's not supposed to be metallic, and all that, right? But we'll just start out with the color, the base color, and then we can make an image file, and we click OK, and now we can actually paint. Okay, so there's two steps here. We need to tell Blender how to unwrap a model and put it on a 2D image, and then we need to create that 2D image for us to paint on. Okay, so if we start painting here, you'll see that it puts that information on our 2D image right here. Okay, and we can also paint on our image, and then it'll go transfer it over to a 3D model. I hope that explanation sort of makes sense for the people watching. But from here on out, it's just about going crazy and painting whatever you want. Okay, so we can go ahead and make some kind of menu. And if you have a tablet pen, I would recommend using it. It just makes the process a lot more fun. But if you just have a mouse, that's fine too. You can still do it. So I'll bring out my tablet and I'll just start drawing a little bit. And if you have problems setting this up, just let me know. What was it you added to be able to paint? Okay, so there's 2 steps of the process, and I'll actually just do the process over again because I feel like this can be a little bit convoluted and some people might get lost, and that's okay. We'll just do it one more time. So we need 2 things. We need to tell Blender how to unwrap our model, which is how to take a 3D model and basically put that on a 2D image, okay? And then we need to create the 2D image for us to paint onto. So first things first, we take a model, we go to UV editing, okay? We select all of it, and then we hit U, or go to the UV menu, and then click Smart UV Project. Smart UV Project, sorry. I don't know if it's project or project, whatever, this button, Smart UV Project, I think. And then that will basically do the whole unwrapping process for us, okay? So it will guess what it's supposed to look like. And now Blender knows how to put a 3D model on a 2D image. And now we can go into the texture painting, project, yeah, Smart UV Project. I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter too much, the button, okay? And then we go into texture painting after you've been doing the UV unwrapping. And here you make a new image texture for you to paint on. So click texture slots, plus, and then the base color, because we want to paint some color. And then you can select the color that's going to be by default. Boop. And now you can paint. And you can kind of see the bottom would be right here, how it's projecting that data that we're painting onto our, what's it called? Onto our surface over here, our image. Does that make sense? So 2 steps, UV unwrapping and then adding the texture. Okay. So we can go back into texture paint mode right here. We can start painting a little bit. Okay, a useful hotkey is X, and then you can select the other color. So if you wanna like delete something you've made or carve out a shape, you can just click X and then you can sort of carve that out. Okay. F to increase or decrease the size, and there's a bunch of like settings for your brush up here. Okay. And then you can just go ahead and do a little bit of painting. So see if you all can find something in your scene that you want to paint, and try to see if you can get the texture painting to work. And if it's still not working, by the way, it mentions, feel free to let me know, and I'll try to figure out why it's not working. You know, it's more than okay. That's why I'm here. And let me know if you did get it to work. Okay, well, let's maybe figure out how we want to do this font. You know, and you can spend as long or as little time on this as you want. It's sort of just up to you. And we can make a I can't find where to add the texture thing. Base color. Hold up. I'll open an older version of Blender. This one has my own UI, so it might be a little bit different, but so if this is your UI, it's probably out here. If you go to tools and then texture slots, you see it's right here. Base color. Okay, and then you have it. Should be right here. Let me know if that helped you out. Tools, draw, texture slots. I actually, for my own personal stuff, I still use an older version of Blender as well. So on the menu, what's on the menu today? How about a chicken leg? Okay, I don't know. There's a chicken leg, alright. Chicken leg, $500. Okay, then we go. You know, whatever, figure out your own whatever little menu here. Then we can kind of put it back, and we'll come back to this if we want to. We'll go back into layout and move it over. Still cannot draw. So, and it is unwrapped, right? Like you do have these lines and everything on the side. Let's try to figure it out together, it'll be fine. Do you have a color selected that you would be able to see? Oh, is it because you're not in the rendered view, perhaps? Try to go into the render view and then draw and see if that helps you out. Shouldn't really be. You do have a material as well, right? On the object. So yes. Oops, what's going on? Okay, so you have a material, you have it unwrapped, and you have made the texture slot for it, but it still doesn't want to draw. Have you tried doing it on a different object in your scene? Is it with all objects or is it just that one? So I'll actually just go in here and I'll delete the bottom. So delete and then faces, and now might be a little bit easier for us to draw. It's always been with unwrap issues. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, try a different one, see if it's still So in this case we can actually draw on our and we can color pick. Okay, and we can draw on the 2D image. It might be easier than drawing on the 3D image right here. Go in and we can sort of paint this. Maybe I can make some guides and then I'll go ahead and paint over that. So like fill that in. Fill this in. Just so I can like split it up evenly. Okay. Fill this in. There we go. Fill this in. Then we can just go ahead and draw 3D space. Okay. It could be that you have multiple materials on your object then. And you're actually trying to do the texture painting, but you're doing it on like the wrong material or something weird like that. If I have some more information, I can keep trying to figure out what's wrong with that. But I mean, I would suggest at this point, just, I don't know if, I hope it's not your main car or something complex like that, but it might be worth it to just like go in, like delete your materials and then add them again and then try to do the whole process. Or just like redo the material part. If you need a reminder, you click this little minus here to remove the material. And I think it's in the old Blender too, or the older. Just a sign, luckily. Okay. Yeah, try to just remove the material and like add it again. See if you can. Okay, that's good enough for the parasol. Okay, and how about we go ahead and start painting the car too? So we can go back into layout, select our car. So we have this hole right here, and then we can go into UV editing, select the whole thing, Smart UV project, boop. It's unwrapped it for us. Go back into texture painting. And there we go. And then we add a texture slot, base material, boom. If we want to copy this color exactly, we can go to the hex value right here. Control C. And we can paste it in. We can also use the eyedropper and like select it here. Boop. And now we can start painting. Do they sell pina colada in this little truck? Shit, I don't know, they might. We can make it happen. I mean, right now it looks like they're selling coffee and macarons. Macaronis. Okay, let's try to get that white stripe on it. It's kind of cool. Boop. So I'll paint it with a little bit of a beige color, right? Like you don't want to go too white. So let's see if it could be easier to paint this in 3D. Because you can sort of make, or in on the image texture, yeah. So go ahead and do a little line here. I guess we just have to accept that, you know, it's fine if it's not the most straight thing ever, you know, like it's also kind of, how should I say it? It kind of has appeal that stuff is not super straight, because it looks a little bit more handmade and that can be appealing. So we can just say it was a style choice. Okay, we kind of went a little bit over here. So we click X to reverse the colors, and then we paint that back in. Okay. See if we can paint a little bit on the front too. No, I'm not really worrying about the back at all, because we'll just be taking a picture from the front. So we just go ahead, paint that in. Okay, something like that. That's it. Okay. So let's get the ring. How about it? So layout, go to the ring. We didn't even add a material to this yet, so let's just go ahead, add it. So this is the whole process from step 1. So we call it ring, and then we go to the UV editing. So this one actually has UVs already, but we can just go ahead, smart UV project, boop, texture paint, add a texture for us to paint onto. Give it a color, bonk. Now we can start painting. So it kind of has this very almost reddish pink, but not quite. There we go. Kind of figure out where those lines are gonna be. Hey, no, I'm not being too exact about all this. It's alright, you know. We're doing this project to have fun and learn a bit, so that's good. Can work on the suitcase a little bit too. Okay, so we need like a brown strap for the suitcase. Suitcase strap, and then we can just give it to all the other pieces. And it looks like, how about we make this like a little copper kind of vibe. It's not necessarily realistic or anything, but I think it could be kind of cool. So low roughness, a little bit of metallicness, and then we kind of have a shiny handle. Is there a way to draw a straight line? Oh, I remember someone asked me about this before, and I feel kind of bad for not being able to give the answer again, because I usually use Substance Painter to paint in, but I am sure there is a way to draw a straight line. There is something called stabilized stroke here, which will kind of make your stroke very smooth, and that can help you draw a straight line. But I know that's probably not exactly the answer you're looking for. So with the stabilization, I can sort of go ahead and make very straight lines. I can help with that. It was about cuts. I think someone also asked me about the painting. I do remember the cut thing. So, I mean, it's definitely possible. Yeah, I'm sorry, Björn. I don't think I can exactly give an answer to that. I would say, I mean, the stabilization right here, you can increase the radius and make very straight strokes. Like, that can probably get you through today. If not, I mean, you know, the awesome thing about Blender is there's a huge community out there. I can also look at it after the stream, but there is definitely a way to do that. Yeah, so. Alright, let's just keep going for now. So where are we at? We're at the suitcase. So go ahead and then you can also do all the unwrapping and stuff inside the different windows, right? Like you don't have to go into the different tabs. It just makes it a bit more intuitive. So let's say I want to unwrap it inside the texture paint tab. Well, I go into the edit mode, select all of it. So A to select all of it, U, Smart UV project, now it's unwrapped. And then I can go into texture paint mode here instead, and then I can add the material or the texture slot. And then I can paint. My paint only shows up in solid mode, not in rendered. Usually it's the other way around. That's interesting. So you see it here. You see it like this, but as soon as you go to this mode, it's like it's not showing up. Okay. Okay, let me check real quick. All of you feel free to keep working. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff you need textured. And if you run out of stuff to texture, which would be impressive, you can just keep modeling stuff and texture that, right? There's so much stuff to do in this scene. So let me check for a second here. Okay, so let's go texture painting, add a base color material. Oh, I don't know why it wouldn't work, because it's like working instantly for me. Could it be that you have multiple materials on your object? Like, are the colors of stuff at least like rendering out? Found that in stroke there's an option for the line, so let's check that out together. Colors and textures are, but not painting. Okay, so stroke. Okay, so stroke method, line. I see. Cool. And then you can, yeah, then you can hold down Alt to make it like straight. Okay, that's cool. Thank you for that, Bjorn. Colors and textures are, but not the painting. Okay, I wonder what that could be. I haven't actually encountered that. So what do you see in the rendered view? Like all the lights and stuff works fine? everything works. It's just the painting that's not showing up. So what happens if you take a new object while you're in rendered view and then try to go through the process and see if you can paint in rendered view? Is that not? Okay. We could try to save the textures as well. So in your, so where you see the 2D view, there's a button here. Oh shit, sorry. So up here there's one called image. Let me see where it is here. Yeah, image, so it's on this bar. So it could be in the top or the bottom. I can't remember what it is in old Blender, but it's in here. You have the option to save all your images, so save all modified images. So try to save all the images and then see if that helps you. And let me know how that goes. We'll figure it out, don't worry, we got this. Okay, so while you try that, let's go ahead and paint the Brazilian flag on the suitcase. Or maybe the Danish flag, how about it? So. Okay, I'm gonna be cheeky. Can make a flag of your choice. I'll go ahead and be a patriot and make the Danish flag. Ah, shit. Okay, there we go. And then we can do some other stuff. We can just draw a bunch of stickers on this thing. I want to draw a little green alien dude. Nice curves on the umbrella. Hell yeah, let's do it. Let me finish my alien dude and then I'll get to it. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's go ahead. Oh, it's still not working. Damn, I'm really sorry about that. I have to think about it. Did you try to save everything? Close Blender and open it again. I don't know, it could be that that might help. Okay, so let's try to get some nice curves. So let's see, we gotta sort of plan it out a little bit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many sides is that? Like 8 sides or something, right? So we can start out by adding a cone and then giving it 8 sides. Or actually we should give it 16 sides. Okay, and then we can go into edit mode. So I hope you're watching, Bjorn. Then we pull down this top a little bit to whatever we want. And then the basic principle of what we're gonna do is we're gonna take every other vertice, every other vertice, and we're gonna scale them in, right? And then after scaling them in, we add, and I'll show you how to do this nicely. We add a subdivision surface, but we gotta remove the, just delete the bottom first. So the faces, and then add a subdivision surface. Okay, but I'll show you how to do this more nice. Okay, so this is the basic principle of it. Hold up, actually I'll show you properly. I'll just have to explain a couple things. I keep clicking my old hotkeys. Okay, so you can add the subdivision surface, and what it does is it kind of just smooths out your mesh and adds more geometry. And then in the vertex mode, if you go to this little menu here, you can use something called creases. So you can say, I want this point to be sharp, I want that point to be sharp, I want this point to be sharp, right? And then you can go ahead, select all the points on the outside and make those sharp. Okay, and then you get that. But that's still not the completely right shape, so we gotta do something else. So it's just kind of the basic principles. So if we add a little bit more complexity. Oh, did I mess up? Can I not go back enough? Okay, whatever. So from the beginning, we go up. 16 sides, we move this one down. And then what we gotta use is, so basically what happened, we scaled them in, but we're scaling them in towards the center, and we don't want that. We want to scale them up like this way. So we gotta tell all these points to scale up towards this point up here. So we use something called the 3D cursor in Blender. Okay, so Shift S to get this cursor menu out, and then you do cursor to selected. So cursor to selected, and then you get this little point, and then when you select other points, you can say, instead of scaling on the median, so in between those points, you gotta scale towards the 3D cursor, and now you can scale them up that way. See that? If you wanted to eyeball this, you could also just, if you don't want to do the 3D cursor thing, you can select every other point like we did before. I'm really bad at selecting every other point apparently. There we go, and then you can just go in and then up a little bit too, if you want to eyeball it. But the right way is to do the 3D cursor and then go like this and then subdivide. Subdivision surface, give it a couple levels, and then you pick where it's supposed to be sharp and where not. Okay, and then you can shade that smooth. You get a little bit of artifacting on the top. So yeah, I mean, so that's a topology issue, and a quick way to fix that is simply to pull out your knife tool, but this is kind of a hack. You don't really need to fix this. You can click C to cut through and then make some more geometry there. Oh no. Oh, it really did not like that. Why not? Ah, there we go. So it should be that if you go corners and subdivision. So if you go in the vertex mode, so you might be in a different mode, but if you go in the vertex mode, there's a crease, vertex crease option. So it could be that your menu is hidden. It's like a little tab here, you click it and then you have a vertex crease. We're not in edit mode. Okay, well, I'm glad you kind of got that. Oh, I'm so sorry, animations. I feel so bad. I don't know what to do about it. That sounds like a very weird... If it's possible, you could go ahead and send me like your file maybe. I could take a look at it. Like you can just send it on the Discord as a Blender file and I could open up. So I guess we can use this little... the new one that we made. Get rid of the old one. Then put in the new one. It works fine in my file. Oh, that sucks. It must be something that was clicked in your file at some point, I guess, or something has changed. Can you try to open a new Blender scene on your own PC and then see if you can get it to work there? Like just put like a line on a cube and see if you can get that to render. So we can do something cool here. So with all this new geometry, we can actually texture this a different way, a little bit. So if we make one material, okay, one material, and we can make another material for the stripes. And then we can select the faces. So just shift selecting. Oops. In edit mode, I'm just shift selecting all the faces that I want to have. The material on it, and then I'm actually gonna add the material to only those faces. I'm really, for some reason my brain is not working for this today. There we go. And then we can click assign on the new material to those, and then we have that. Okay, so that's like a cleaner result than what we had before. And by the way, it mentions if it does work in a new clean Blender scene, you can just, with both Blender scenes open, you can just A to select everything, and then Control C, and then Control V in your other like fresh Blender scene, and you should be able to copy everything over, and that should work. Or if my Blender scene works, you can click A and then delete everything, and then copy it from your Blender scene into it. Okay, so I'll keep going here. I think for texturing, I guess we can make some stuff on this little thing. So let's go to, so I go into edit mode, U, Smart UV project, and then I go to texture paint. Oops. I picked the color that was already there. Love the umbrella, worked great. I'm glad you like it. Just remember to hit the right click and then shade smooth or shade auto smooth. And if you want to, if you really like want to make it nice, you can also use something called solidify. Oops. So solidify, and that will give it a little bit of thickness. Okay, so solidify. And then if you want to, you can even add a bevel. So that's gonna make it like real nice. Something like that. Okay. So go back to this thing, texture paint. Whoop, whoop. How did it unwrap it? Kind of like that. Okay, then I'll just go ahead and make some lines on this. Maybe I'll turn on the stabilize. Ooh. Okay, there we go. It works now, great. Nice. Now you know that trick. And trust me, I've had it in the past where there's something I'm like, I don't know why that's happening, and I'll then copy it over into a new scene. And it'll just save me a bunch of headache. Okay, so for now I think we kind of got decent texture and all our stuff. I'll just see with the last like 10 minutes we have. I'll try to model, just speed model a bunch of stuff and put it in. So I'll go into old Blender where I'm like very comfortable, and I'll let people know that they should think about getting ready. Oops, what's happening? Getting ready for showcasing, because I'll look at all the stuff in not too long. So the way I'm modeling right now is far from ideal, but I'm just doing it to get something fun, kind of quick, just so we have some props in our scene. Though looks better, huh, interesting. I guess something happened with your render settings somehow. I'm not really sure what that could have been. Oops. So we can add a subdivision on this. And this is also a way to use the subdivision modifier. You can add an edge loop, so you guys might remember this from the modeling class. All our edge loops, we do like those. Oh my god, I can't even... This is the problem with using different hotkeys for stuff. Messes with your brain. So you see how I kind of got that clean shape by using the subdivision for the guitar. And then we can get a hole if we want to. And then very quickly we have something that can, you know, it might not be the coolest guitar you've ever seen, but it is something. Let's just do something like this real quick. It's because I really want a guitar in here. Oh my. Okay, there we go. Sure enough, that's something that could look like a guitar. And then what else can we make real quick? We can make like a little lawn chair. So with these, there's a bunch of powerful tools in here, right? So one of them is skin. Which is actually broken today for some reason. Okay, and then you can use them on top of each other. Then very quickly you can get something out of it. So let's go, people, get your stuff ready, and then I'll take a look in the Discord at everybody's work and admire you all for doing so well like you all usually do. Okay. And I'll finish it up here too. Just gonna put these things in. So Control C, oops, Control C, and then into my other scene, Control V. Oh my god. So funny, my old Blender, or the one I currently use, and this new version I'm using for y'all, they have different hotkeys, so my brain is getting super confused. There we go. I should have definitely just stuck to this scene and modeled in here, but now we have some stuff to put in. Dolly lawn chair, we can put that in too. Whoop. There we go. Let's just put one. What's up, Ofi? Nice to meet you as well. So we can try to paint our guitar here. Ooh. Too much. I'll go with the stabilization for the stroke because I want to make a circle around this little thing here. Okay, whoa, definitely not perfect, but you know, it's alright. What's up, Michael? How you doing? Okay, so same thing as always, into object mode, unwrap. We can just give this a material too. And then let's call it. Okay, there we have our little scene. So let's wrap it up, everybody. Let's take a picture. So we can go right here, and then we go view, and then viewport render image. There we have a cute little picture. Okay, kind of want a little bit more. We can change the aspect ratio and all that, and here there's a tab called output, and then if I do a picture that's like 2000 by 2000, then it'll be a square. So I can go right here and then do again view, viewport render image, and then I get a square instead. I kind of get that. Let's do 2600. Also change the contrast down here. So in your render at the very bottom there's something called color management. And you can sort of play around with it a little bit. So there we go, and we can do save as. Then we go ahead and save it and save your images, and I'll take a look at them on the Discord in a second. Got this picture. Oh no, the Danish flag is hidden. Damn. Do we hide the alien dude or the Danish flag? Shit, that's a hard choice. Maybe we can do it from this angle. Whoop. I'll just go with the first one, and I'll go check the Discord. Let's see what's up. Sorry for going a little bit over time, everybody. I prefer using Cinema 4D over Blender. Yeah, Cinema 4D is very cool. I haven't tried it, but I heard it's like fairly intuitive and you can do some cool motion graphics and all that. But Blender is free. Okay, that is fucking awesome. By the way, good job on that. Wait, Björn, you're called Peacemaker, right? Just wanna make sure. That looks awesome. I'm happy you tried a bunch of stuff outside as well. That was the goal of all these streams, is to get you making stuff outside of the streams too. Get you fired up about it. Happy to see it all. You even got the image of a restaurant on there. I was about to butcher that flag. That is the Belgian flag, right? Yes, okay, that's the Belgian flag. Alright, very cool. That's super nice. I love all of it. I love this little, it's kind of fun that you tried a bunch of stuff. Got the guitar as well and the little flag. Bravo. Good job to you. You get a fire, a sun, and a heart. Good job, Jan. Katrin. Same techniques on the flag as on the umbrella. Like this thing? The surfboard. Kinda. I think that's a surfboard, right? Yeah, the crease thing can be very super useful. Yeah, like your umbrella. You got it real nice. Katrin, okay. Showcasing his modeling skills a little bit and the nice menu too. Good job, Katrin. I saw this today as well already. Bravo, bravo. Imagine that a tree with a little bit of subsurface scattering so the light can come through and all that, or some materials. I would want to see that. Very nice. You get a heart too. It mentions didn't get super far because of the issues. Also need to remodel some things that I have accidentally joined so I can get on different textures. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm happy you joined me and you did get something done. So I'm sure you can work on it on your own time too, which is something I'll be super happy about. I'll be glad to see all of it. So let's say you have stuff that's accidentally joined. Yeah, really good job. Should we vote? I mean, there's not really a winner for today. I'm just giving them all a little heart because I think everybody did great and I'm happy to see them. So if you have stuff that's accidentally joined. So what you can do is let's say you want this palm front to be not joined. You can do select linked, which basically means it selects all the faces that are connected to this mesh, and then you can separate. You can search for separate and then by selection, and now it's a different model. You see that? And even if you didn't want to separate it, you could still select linked. Oops. Select linked. Okay, and then you can give it a different material. So we can give this a blue material and then click assign. And then that single leaf becomes blue. Yeah. Alright, good job everybody. I'm super happy to see it all. Very happy to see the results as well. That's very awesome. And I'll be closing off for tonight. So happy to have you all join me. Next week we'll be doing another bootcamp on another Wednesday, same time, same place, and I'd love to see you all there. We're gonna be doing level design, so I'm thinking that we're gonna take some of the stuff that we've made and put it into Unreal Engine and see if we can figure out something fun there. Actually be able to run around the stuff and everything. Yeah, no problem, Björn. Thank you so much for joining. I'm happy to see your progress and all that. Yeah, Björn said it. Don't forget to press the like button. It helps me out. It makes my employer know that you guys enjoy the stream. You're welcome, admissions. I'll be happy to see you all next time. So with that being said, have a good rest of your evening or night or wherever you're from. So I'll see you all next time. Bye bye. And good job. Give yourself a little clap on the back.